They have struggled.
Yeah, but this makes it look worse. I mean, it
no,
really does.
you're not wrong.
If they don't make the playoffs this year, honestly, if they don't make the playoffs this year, it'll be the first year that Tomlin's never made the playoffs, and Big Ben's last year. I would say that that would be his fault because Tomlin's always made the playoffs.
Yeah, I also kind of think it was ownership because they talked with him. He convinced ownership, so it's kind of, I feel like it kind of put Tomlin between a rock and a hard place. He's like, well, I want to start him, but maybe I don't want to. But however, he's talking to management and he wants to. So I mean, it's just one of those crazy decisions, man. It's just one of them crazy decisions.
Well, that's why Andy has that's why Andy has that role.
Yeah, you have to have final say.
Yeah,
because
and Tomlin should. I mean, he's been, what's this, his 13th season with that team, and 13 years straight he's went to 12 years out of the 13 he's went to the playoffs. So he should have that opportunity to say, hey, look, he's got, jello in his arm. He's not the same quarterback he used to be. We don't have the same offensive line to protect him. He's slow.
They're a whole different team after AB and Le'Veon. And I know people don't like them, but I was kind of like, those guys were really good to help them. And I understand maybe money was a problem, but you kind of got to do what you got to do in those situations. And they put Ben in the forefront. That's a story for another time.
Yeah.
But, man, looking at the Patriots schedule, last but not least, this is what they have. Who they have, JP. They have the Colts, the Bills, the Jaguars, the Dolphins. The Colts might win, and the Miami Dolphins might win.
Yeah.
But the thing I'm seeing is I would not be surprised if the Patriots somehow pull it out and end up getting the number 1 seed.
It can happen. That's the one team
I see them maybe losing to the Dolphins.
I do too.
Maybe the Colts. But I think if we're just being honest from my standpoint, I just see the Patriots could be the team that ends up getting the first seed.
You look at that game this past game, Patriots and Bills. That just showed you how much smarter Belichick is than McDermott. Because McDermott, the win was strong. It was like it was in Kansas City during that Broncos game. 30-mile-an-hour gust. It was swirling in the stadium. Belichick said, okay, well, you run the ball 32 times. One of them's going to have to break free. It just is what it is.
Yeah. I mean, they just pound the rock down the rock. That's something the Chiefs can do, man. We have the offensive line. We've seen what Clyde Edwards, Hilaire, Darrell Williams. We know what Derek Carr can do. I mean, seriously, having these guys, they can literally punch the ball down another team's throat. I mean, we got the offensive line to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
We really do.
I looked at that and I thought, wow, Belichick really he outcoached McDermott. And, I don't like McDermott anyway.
He's one of Andy's disciples.
I just don't like him. He's got that face. How do I explain this? There's an actor.
He looks arrogant.
It's not just his arrogance. He has that face. There's an actor, and I can't think of his name right now, but he's been in a bunch of movies, and he always plays a complete jerk off. And he looks just like him. And he has that face you just want to smack.
So are you saying McDermott thinks he's better coach than everyone because he has Josh Daniels?
And he has this look on his face like he's a devious look. It's very devious. And
well, I mean, maybe
you know who he looks like? Have you ever seen Training Day with Kevin Costner?
Nah, man.
You got to watch the movie.
That's what Philip told me. I got to watch all those old movies.
Great movie. It's basically there's a guy in there that plays a new GM, and he's like a rookie GM, and Kevin Costner is doing a trade with him, and this guy it may be Sean McDermott. I mean, I swear to God, they look just like each other.
Is it Moneyball?
What?
Is it you said the movie's called Training Day?
I think it's called Training Day. I'd have to look it up, but it's with Kevin Costner where he plays a GM of a football team, and it's all about the dead trade. It's all about the going through the draft. Maybe it's called Draft Day. I don't remember.
Okay.
It's a great movie. But anyway, it may be McDermott. I swear to God, they look just like each other. These two guys. And I remember looking at that guy, and then I saw McDermott, and I thought, man, they look like twins. But it just goes to show you how much smarter Belichick was.
Well, Belichick's a statistician. I mean, Belichick's been doing this for so many years.
Yeah.
I feel like he's great with and without Brady. They complement each other. But for when you're kind of looking at the end of the day,
look what
at
he's
this
done with
team,
Mac Jones. I mean,
Mac Jones is doing his thing.
Yeah, and give him 2 years. Give him 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to be up in the talks with some of the best in the league. I mean, he really will be. I truly believe that. He's a good quarterback. He did, and everybody's talking about how he didn't throw the ball. He didn't throw the ball for a reason.
Yeah, it's too windy. Some of them passes, I'm like, okay, yeah, they went, but it's kind of like, I don't know if this is going to work.
As strong as Allen's arm is, his balls were floating. And then, McDermott has him throwing the rock. And as he's throwing that ball, you could see the ball floating all over the place. I mean, he was so off the mark.
That's why you need an offensive line and have a running game. And that's one thing Brett Veach has been able to do, man. I mean, you just hit it right on the head.
Yeah. I'm looking that movie up while we're talking about it because let's see.
Because I think kind of from the standpoint
draft day.
Draft
day. Watch that movie. It's great.
Okay.
And honestly, it's pretty realistic, man. I mean, if you've ever been around inside of a draft room on draft day, it's really realistic. But you'll see a coach in there or a rookie GM in there. And when you see him, you'll be like, oh my God, is that Sean McDermott? Because it looks just like him. I was like, wow, is that really him? I might have to look it up on the stats to see if that was actually him. But regardless, I looked at Allen during that game. And here's another thing. On third down and red zone possessions with the Bills, the Patriots stopped him on every single down almost, man. I mean,
that's Belichick's defense.
Yes.
He knows what he's doing.
They could not get in the end zone to save their life. And he moved them back. At one point, they were like 1st and 4, I think.
1st and goal at the 4, probably.
At the 4, and they ended up back on the 34-yard line. And I'm like, damn, look at this. I mean, they were just pushing them back and back and back. And I'm like, I was loving it, to be honest with you. I think I even put out a tweet on the focus page. I was thinking, I didn't think I'd ever say this ever, but I hope the Patriots win this game. Mm-hmm. And I didn't think I'd ever say that, but that was because Brady was there. I do like Belichick. I do.
I think
like
he's
Belichick.
Now I don't agree with the deflate gate and all that stuff, but
I don't either.
Besides all that, he's one of the greatest coaches I've seen, and I put him up there, Andy up there with him, because they're both. Well, Belichick just a great statistician. I mean, just coach. He knows what he's doing. He knows what to plan for.
Yeah.
He knows how long to keep a player, when to get rid of him. And I think that's going to be something that's going to be interesting kind of moving forward with Andy in Kansas City. Okay, moving into the future, who are we going to get? Because if you had like a Tyreek Hill on Belichick's team, he may get rid of in a year or two when you would think the Chiefs may try to keep him for 5 for veteran help.
Yeah.
And I hope they can still keep Tyreek because I think he's a great route runner and everything.
Oh, yeah,
but there's going to be well, I mean, I agree with you. I just think there's going to come a time where you're going to have to make the tough calls. Like Justin Houston, he's great. Taba Hali, maybe he was here for a year too long. Dontari Poe, Alan Bailey, guys were shelling themselves, it seemed like, at certain points. They were just not performing as great as they were. And maybe it's just they were just in the wrong position. Maybe they should have took a back seat. But as we had the GM and all that stuff during the time, it was just kind of like, well, they played in the wrong positions a lot of time and they got beat up a lot more.
Wide receivers can handle, for the most part, they last a lot longer than your average linebacker or lineman in general. But I think Tyreek has a long career ahead of him.
He should make the NFL Hall of Fame. He's had a Super Bowl. He has had all these crazy seasons, those stats, these yards during the season.
Yeah.
If he gets a second Super Bowl, I think he should just get on this first Super Bowl and everything he's done. But if he can get another phenomenal season, and looking at his stats overall,
I think he's leading the team right now at everything.
Yeah.
And he still have drop passes.
Yeah, that's one thing I don't get, but it is what it is. Just kind of looking at what he has so far, he has. It doesn't say for the season.
I know this much. People keep riding Hardman, but when they put him in that play, he sure did well.
I think Hardman has done a phenomenal job. You just got to give him some more time.
Yeah, I agree.
I would love for him to get more of a chance, but I just don't know what's going to happen at this point with him. If we're just being honest, it's just not the same.
I think it's
Personally,
not
right
the
now,
same because he doesn't have that extra threat out there, and he needs it. He's not ready to be that number two deep threat that everybody wants him to be, and everybody thought he was going to be, and everybody hyped him up to be that he never was meant to be. Our team has never been set up to be to have a true number two wide receiver. So
it's 1A, 1B. Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, whoever
yeah,
you want, pick your poison. That's kind of how it always has been.
Yeah. So I mean, for people to complain because he's not the number two guy on the league or on the team, as a wide receiver, I should say, you can complain all you want. There is no real number two. So you got to get over that part of it. I mean,
so then this is my question, JP, before we talk more about the Raiders. Do you think Josh Rosen's going to come into his own? What do you think is going to happen? Because he just hasn't.
I think he will. I do think he will.
I mean, I'm just being honest, man. It feels like having Kelvin Benjamin like we had that one year. He didn't do anything.
He'll come into it. I think it's just going to take more time than expected. And I do believe, I'll say this until I'm blue in the face, he didn't get his opportunity when he came in to the team like he should have. And that wasn't Andy's fault. That was ignorance. I'm sorry, but it was. He should have been on the field. He should have been getting reps early on. Really, second week with the team, he should have been out there at least 25, 30% of the time. Even if he wasn't being thrown to, he should have been out there learning the routes and getting his body acclimated to play again. And then getting thrown to here and there. Now, you're really, if you really want to look at it, since Andy's been calling the plays the last 3 weeks, really, he's been out there 51% of the time, 39% of the time. And I want to say the other one was maybe close to that 35, 40% of the time, somewhere around there. So if that would have happened his first 3 weeks, he'd be out there catching passes. I think now you're going to see him where maybe he'll start getting targeted more. He's only been targeted, 6 times?
Has to be under 10 times.
I think it's 6 total.
Yeah, something small. Yeah. I mean, I just kind of expect him to have a bigger role. It's Josh Gordon. Everyone's talking about, he looks shredded. He's good to go. And it's kind of like, okay.
I mean, the guy looked like
he going to get a chance to catch some passes? I mean,
like I said, it wasn't.
Maybe he'll come up in the playoffs. I mean,
yeah.
I'm just kind of at this point that he's just going to be Kelvin Benjamin.
Well, you know how Andy is.
Because we're not seeing anything. I'm like, we got to see. When he was with the Patriots, he was scoring some touchdowns. Now, did it last long? No, but he was at least getting some stuff, and we're just not seeing that.
Well, you know how Andy is too. He likes to disguise a lot of things, and he likes to hide a lot of things. So, getting towards the later part of the season, when he's really needed, he may just come out of nowhere, and he may end up being like a Sammy in the playoffs and scare the shit out of everybody.
It's possible.
So I think that it's going to end up being a situation that his time's going to come. And when it does, everybody will stop talking crap about him. Like, everybody talks crap about everybody until they do well. And then all of a sudden the tweets are deleted and he's my favorite player ever. I knew he had it in him, but until that happens, people have been talking about Travis Kelce. He's slow. He's lost his step. He's too old. Nobody took into consideration that he's been injured pretty much since week 2.
Yes.
And he's just now starting to feel a little bit better. He's still not 100%, but he's getting there. So it always cracks me up when you hear these fans say, oh, well, Travis, he's slow. He's losing his step. He's still this right now, a guy that has lost his step, slow, too old, all these other things is still the number 1 tight end in football. This year is ranked number 1 in football. And he's slow and lost his step. And all the other guys that are behind him are a minimum of 3 years younger than him and weren't injured. Other than Kittle, which I think he came out of the womb injured. So,
Kittle, as we see him, and we've gone through this debate with people before, but Kittle is just a different guy. He's just going to go through and get hit a bunch.
Well, he just goes and hits people for no reason. I mean, you got